We're from England and we've come to Australia to backpack around your craters.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
Here it's final transmission. It's me, Sam Russo. It's Jamie Carruthers. It's one Uno horror movie per week from the dawn of time until the coming of the end of time. Jamie, good evening. How are you?
I am fantastic, Sam. How are you?
Killing it. Smashing it. Top of the tree.
How are you enjoying our vacation so far?
It's had its ups and downs, but it's pretty chill. Certainly a lot to
So-
talk about out here on the road. Good summer road trip so far.
Yeah, so last week, obviously, we were in the...
We're in the Nevada desert, I believe.
and we've taken a hop, skip and jump over to the Antipodean Isles.
Just a short right around the corner to Australia.
Yeah, we're now backpacking.
Yep.
We're on a walkabout. We're naked in the sun with Jenny Agutter and the Aborigines.
Crikey. We've got a Vegemite sandwich in our back pocket and we're doing it Aussie style.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in Australia, as
Yeah.
we've established. We're talking about Wolf Creek.
Or if you're from New Jersey, Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek. From 2005, directed by Greg McLean.
Hot guy.
It stars John Jarrett and a bunch of nameless Australians doing bad British accents. Almost like it's payback for every bad Australian accent I've ever done in my life.
I feel so bad for the Australians because every single time some dick, some putz, some yo-yo American tries to do an English accent, it's immediately the worst Australian accent you've ever heard.
Except for Renee Zellweger in Bridget Jones. That's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
like, professionals who are paid to learn to do an accent well should just do it well. We've talked about this ad nauseum. I just mean your average fucking dumb shit on the street cannot get this accent to save their lives. They go immediately to Australia. Do not pass go. Do not collect £100 straight to Australia. £500. How much is it when you pass go?
200.
£200.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Brexit really did a number on us on that.
it really did. Yeah. So sorry, Australia. You get the worst of everything, and you're just bloody doing your best, and we love you.
Well, like I say, there are two Australian women in this movie doing English accents, and it does feel a little bit like payback because I don't know anyone that's like, hello, I'm an English person and this is how I talk.
Are they? What's the fucking? I don't get it. Are they? They're traveling.
Yes, they're meant
Right.
to be English backpackers
Got you.
who are in Australia.
With some Australians.
To meet, and I'm guessing they've met an Australian who's there, or while they're there, and he's like going around with them.
Well, hang on. Both those girls are supposed to be English.
Yeah,
Since when? What?
since in the movie where they're like, "Hello, my name's Liz, and this is Betsy, or whatever my name is.
Yeah, for like
And
4 seconds.
We're from England, and we've come to Australia to backpack around your craters."
I thought they were taking the piss.
No, they're meant to be English.
Okay, well, doesn't matter where you're from when you scream.
Ah,
Is that a thing? I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
In
so...
Australia, no one can hear you scream because your mouth is full of spiders.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Australia's
so-
scary enough. They don't need horror. End of podcast.
I thought I had seen this before, Sam,
Yep.
but I hadn't.
Hmm.
Had you?
Ooh. No, I actively avoided this film
Oh, nice.
for years, for over a decade. Yeah.
How comes?
I just thought it looked so shit. It's just got nothing that appeals to me really on the surface. I haven't found a thread or a vein of Australian cinema that really grabs me. And I think, early 2000s Australian horror just didn't look like something I would enjoy. So I put it at the bottom of the pile.
Okay. I mean, it was oft compared to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it's not ridiculous.
That is, This is a real Monkeys Beatles situation again.
I think, like, without getting into spoilers at this point, I think it emulates the visceral tone and mood and grim violence of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre really, really well.
Oof. Blimey, he's coming in hot and strong and heavy.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you want me to do the synopsis?
Yeah, go on. Do a synopsis.
3 backpackers in Australia break down on the road and encounter a wily bushman. Things escalate. Things go awry.
Do you find Bushmen scary?
No, not at all. And it's because of the WWF. It's because of all the wily bushman wrestlers that were complete shite. The Bushwhackers, for example.
Yeah.
Skinner. Who else was there? There must have been more. Don't know. Those guys were so boring and sucked so bad. They put me off for life.
So I wonder if, like, between them and, you know, what's his name? The crocodile hunter, Steve
Irwin.
Crocodile
Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee and all those characters.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if, like, they made us so warm to these kind of characters that makes this maybe scarier as a result.
I don't know. They've definitely done a good job of enhancing the factors of this character type or this type of person that are scary. You know, these people exist in droves. You know, crazy hunter, Skinner, bushwhacking, fucking Australian lunatics out there just killing everything that moves for years and years and years. They exist. I mean, I've met people who worked in abattoirs who think, you know, a rough tally of how many pigs they might have killed with their hands is over 1 million. And these people are like psychologically shattered. There's an aspect of their, you know, their inner machinery that is no longer shiny or functional. And that is scary. You know, they do a good job in this movie of showing you just how little it means to this man to kill and do violence.
You know, I worked in a chicken killing factory for a bit.
You were chicken killing, were you?
Well, for half a day, I worked in a chicken killing factory.
How'd it go?
It was pretty grim.
Yeah.
I basically had to watch the chicken killing river as the chickens went down the chicken killing river into the bit that was electrified.
Oh.
That would electrify them to death.
What were you looking for while you were watching?
The ones that fly out.
The
ones that fly out, and then you have to wring their necks. I did.
Nice.
Like I say, I left at lunchtime. It was not nice.
Now imagine doing that for 45 years.
I think I would be an absolute nightmare, jaded, horrible machine. I definitely wouldn't be cracking jokes.
No. Well, my granddad was a foreman at a pork, I don't know what you call it politically correct wise, a fucking, you know, death camp for pigs, whatever you call it, a abattoir.
Oh, Pigschwitz.
Pigschwitz, yep, that's the one. And he became vegetarian after being there for about 11 minutes. He didn't even eat his lunchtime ham sandwich. Yeah, horror show. Obviously, we know this. But, you know, living in the Australian outback, there's a cool, like, through thread here with, like, the buffalo hunters in the American West. And any human that's charged with the systematic extermination of a species by hand, one at a time, has a terrifying backstory. And I think, proportionately, you got to look at the numbers here, right? There's a lot of them. A portion of society become crazed killers anyway. I think a portion of those bushmen will become crazed killers without an enormous amount of persuasion. Look at it that way.
Yeah.
So off he pops.
This film opens with a based on true events card.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, sort of. Not really. We'll get into that in a little bit. What do you think about based on true events as a thing, especially when it's like not really?
I think as soon as some real clever dick figured out that you could say that and not even have to slightly substantiate it and just kind of, you know, say that to enhance the horror, it undermined trust in that as a trope. But still like it. I think it's still a clever, well, no, maybe not clever. It still works for me. It still casts a different light on the experience of watching the movie. You're thinking with a slightly different gear turning slowly in the back of your brain, I think. You're appreciating it on a different level. So I do think that helped this movie. Especially if it's, you know, for a viewer maybe who doesn't know an enormous amount about culture, in which a movie's taking place. So if you showed me a Korean movie and said based on true events, it enhances the mystique a little bit because I don't have a way to substantiate that really with a lot of cultural knowledge. So
Yeah,
I think it makes it more interesting. But yeah, it's been devalued a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think I'll get into the true events that this is based on, and they are true, they are events, but they don't bear an awful lot of resemblance to what happens in this movie.
That's why based on is such a broad,
Yeah,
inspired by, that kind of thing. I think it's fine. I think it's a choice to put it there. You don't have to put it there. At the end, it could just be in the very end of the credits, inspired by the story of blah. But
yeah,
it's a
is
cinematic
Is it
device,
Fargo that's like
yeah,
based on true events, and it isn't.
Nope. Total fiction. Yeah, very clever.
Yeah.
Love that. Punk as fuck.
I'm happier when the Coens do it than when some fucking chump X does it. Do you know what I mean?
Chump X. That sounds like a horror movie.
It does, yeah. Oh no, someone's put nanobots into this chump and then sent him into outer space.
Chump X. Nice. Yeah, so I like it, and I think in a story like this that feels believable because of the truly psychotic nature of the antagonist, it just adds a little chill factor. I quite like it, and not you know what I mean. It makes it more chilling, not more chilled out.
Grab yourself a Budweiser.
Chill factor, bruh.
Well, why don't we take a break, Sam, and we'll come back and talk about the real true events that inspired Wolf Creek.
God, yes.
Whoa, holy shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
All right, Sam, I am back. You're drinking some wine, but are you back?
I'm back, drinking wine, Spody Odie.
Right, true crime, Australian style.
Yep.
There are two cases that inspired this.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Ivan Milat, who was convicted in 1996 for the murder of 7 backpackers in New South Wales between
doing God's work, but yeah, carry on.
1989 and 1993.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 2 a year.
Good record.
It's not great, is it?
Well, it depends what stance you take. That's how you keep your head down.
Well, not really. He got caught.
Yeah. Oh, I'd like to know how.
Well, I can tell you how.
Thank you. Good. I'd like to know.
He tried to kidnap 2 people whose names I have forgotten. Killed one of them, and the woman whose name I think is something Lees, Joanne Lees, Alison Lees, something like that.
I'm not worried about their names.
Just I'm remembering.
Okay.
She managed to get away and went and gave a description. Maybe the other way around. Maybe he got away. Don't know. Someone got away, gave a description. The police lost this description, and then found it 2 years later or something, and were like, "Oh, goodness. This is the guy." So they went and found him and arrested him.
Ooh, that stings.
And so he has a lot of common with Mick Taylor, specifically some of the ways that he killed people.
Mm.
So it was clear from some of the corpses that they found that they've been used for target practice. The head on a stick thing.
Yeah.
That's something that really happened in real life, basically severing the spinal column to make somebody basically a live head that had no body functions.
Is there a boring question? Is there an ethical argument that
killing backpackers is okay?
Is there an ethical argument that it's not cool to kill backpackers? I'm not seeing it. Is there, and this is boring, is there an ethical argument to say that making a movie that so loyally depicts something so disgusting and inhumane is maybe a bit fucked? Especially if it's a crap slashy horror movie. I get it if you're doing fucking Diary of Anne Frank or whatever, but just here's how some backpackers got slashed up and fucked. Is that cool? I don't know. It doesn't feel great.
Well, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was based on Ed Gein.
Yeah, but it's really good.
But
philosophical question. Do the means justify the ends, my man? If the film is absolutely banging, stands the test of time, scary as all fuck, uses that source material to create really compelling art, challenging art, versus low budge, spuff. Is it, is it somehow devaluing the tragedy?
I think art is ultimately subjective, and therefore you are not the arbiter on whether something is, amazing or low budget stuff.
That's why I'm asking your opinion, dude. That's why we're here.
I also don't think this is just low budget stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's low budget for sure, but I think like it has some interesting things to say and interesting ways of presenting the violence in challenging ways to make it feel like something more than just like a super low budget gore fest.
Sounds like we got an episode in our hands.
Well,
Jamie's gonna call up the families of the slain backpackers and explain why Wolf Creek is a fitting tribute to their tragic deaths.
I don't know whether it's a fitting tribute to the death of real life backpackers. But luckily,
I'm just fucking with you. I don't give a fuck about backpackers.
They changed the names
to protect the innocent.
To protect the innocent, but also the guilty.
Sure. Yeah.
I think more so than Ivan Milat, who I guess has the most in common with Mick Taylor. Greg McLean made this in the middle of like a trial where they were convicting another like backpacker murderer.
Right.
Whose name was Bradley John Murdoch, which, 3 names, so he's obviously guilty.
BJ Murdoch.
Yeah. So I think like that's more of an ethical issue, really, is the fact that this movie is made during the middle of this trial.
I don't know. I mean, someone is always on trial for killing backpackers at some point. When are you going to find your window, dude? You can't fucking wait around for this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? It feels a bit exploitative, I guess.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't seek to not be exploitative. It feels like an exploitation movie in the classic sense, I think.
Yeah, and exploitation movies don't really need a lot of defending, do they? It's just, they are what they are, and you take them or you leave them. I tell you what's interesting. The whole idea in this movie that can we just call him Bushman? It makes my life
no, his name's Mick Taylor. It's not that hard to remember.
Mick Taylor. Yeah, he is Mick Taylor. You kidding me? The world's most forgettable name. I've forgotten it already. So listen, it's interesting that Mick Taylor is portrayed as being so outlandishly Australian that even our Australian main character is sort of mystified by how backwards and old school and rough and ready and rural he is. I think that's quite a clever little device.
I think the interesting thing that I think about Mick Taylor is that his character doesn't change. Like when we first meet him, he's like funny and avuncular and like vaguely threatening under the surface, and like that's when he's being nice. And when he's killing you, he's sort of being funny and avuncular and vaguely threatening under the surface, but like he's killing you while he's being like that. I think it's like we all know this sort of character archetype. Like whether it's like, I don't know if I've ever had any interaction with an Australian that didn't feel like that, sort of like friendly and lovely, but the undercurrent of something sinister.
You could gut me.
Literally.
At any second. Our experience of Australians is pretty limited. I've met a lot of Australians who didn't make me feel like they were going to turn me into a head on a stick after 5 minutes of bants.
Well, but I think like we've all got characters like that. It could be your weird uncle or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, for me this is a transcontinental experience. You know, this menacing guy or gal or human in general is everywhere, and they all carry their own really interesting little signature moves. And I think the Australian version of this is extra interesting because of the nature of the sense of humor, the mannerisms, the gait, the banter, all of it. And it's as disarming as it is unnerving, which is, really fertile ground to create a fucking horrible bastard of a killer. And yeah, it's cool that he thinks exactly the same about skinning a chicken as he does cutting a woman's spine out. You're just an animal to him.
I think his performance is fantastic.
Fantastic.
I think he is genuinely very scary.
Wow.
The other characters in the movie are stock cutout characters that could be anybody, and I think they're played fine. I think sometimes it feels like like a reenactment for a true crime show. But I think that's kind of on purpose.
I think that's deliberate. Yeah, I think that's deliberate too. Yeah.
But like,
if it's not, it's criminal. It better be deliberate.
yeah, well, I think so. One of the things that I read was that Greg McLean was really trying to, for a big chunk of it, make you feel like you're watching journalism, make you feel like you're watching real events happening, or at least things that feel real happening in real time. So there's like basically no music for the first half of the movie. There's also, it doesn't follow like a common movie structure. There's like 40 minutes of stuff and then half an hour of stuff.
Yeah, there's an hour of not horror, like categorically not horror. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't hate these characters, but I don't think that they're strong or likable enough that we spend 45 minutes to an hour with them until stuff starts to happen. It's not that they're boring or anything. It's just they're not super engaging.
They're not in a situation that evokes enough for me. They're on a very barren road trip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, they're falling in love and they're, exploring their early 20s, I imagine. But there's not a lot to grab onto. Like, it's a problem of the landscape, I think. The movie maybe doesn't do enough to give you the falling in love with the landscape feeling or the liberating feel. The scene with the crater is excellent because it is a quintessentially Australian stop-off, on the road. It's enormous, it's barren, it's massive, it's destructive, it's quite an evocative place for them to stop. In an American road movie, it would be some fucking diner or a roadside attraction, a dinosaur or some shit. So that conjures a really interesting feeling and image, but there's not enough of it for us to really latch onto their characters. Their response to those landscape elements isn't profound enough for me to really give a shit, and there's not much else.
No, I think like the only thing that sustains me is the threat of what's going to happen, because we know that we're watching a horror film, and we know we're watching a film that's come out of this tradition of like Picnic at Hanging Rock or Waking Fright or whatever. So like we know that when people venture out of the cities in Australia, there are no good things don't happen.
Yeah.
In films, at least.
I mean, it's
I'm sure in real life it's fine.
Maybe. I don't know. There's an element of comfort in the structure because the second he shows up, here's the killer. It's not difficult. There's no mystery. They're not even trying to hide it, and it is shot in a way that stinks of reality TV. There's a lot of eye level shots. There's some stuff where it feels like the camera's been put on the ground. It's pretty textbook. It doesn't go as far as something like Blair Witch, but it doesn't have the absolutely rank low quality of a literal television broadcast following someone around.
No.
So it does a stylized bridging job.
Yeah,
there,
I think like there's a scene when Mick Taylor is attacking one of the girls and Liz is outside and she's watching it, and we get her POV through like shaky handheld camera. And like that is cool to a point, but it goes on so long and the camera is moving so much that it becomes really distracting, and it's really like, oh, we're watching through a handheld camera here. And like if the camera was diegetic and she was holding the camera and we were maybe seeing that footage, I would believe it. But like if we're seeing her POV, nobody moves their head that much.
No. And there is a camera in the film
that
they're using to film stuff. So that was a little strange. Maybe it's supposed to be clever. I don't know.
I think like it's meant to feel voyeuristic, but it goes too far, I think, and it becomes distracting when you're like, oh, they're using a handheld shaky cam situation here, as opposed to like, oh, I'm really in the scene and in this moment. Yeah,
sure. There's a lot of sniper scope shots, stuff like that, which I quite like.
I love a sniper view.
Yeah. It's not something you get to see in daily life, so it's quite fun.
Yeah.
I'm sick of looking through my fucking eyeballs and my nervous system. I want to see through someone else's sniper scope.
I mean, you could just carry a scope around with you.
I could. I definitely. I can't say that on the pod.
Well, that's staying in. Going back to your point about like the crater in Australia and the outback or whatever, more generally, I don't think this film makes Australia look particularly attractive. And I read some stuff with the director. I read a couple of interviews, and in one of them, he's talking about how, like, by the end of the movie, the landscape feels different. It feels cold and unfeeling. And, like, I sort of feel like it feels like that all the way through. It just sort of sits there and it's like, It's not ominous. It's not threatening. It's not doing anything. It's just sort of a place for this thing to exist. And obviously the fact that it's not, massively densely populated is important. But besides that, I don't feel like it looks especially beautiful, or it looks especially inviting, or it looks especially ominous. It's just a place.
Yeah, you make an interesting point. It's shot in a way that makes it feel vaguely Martian, which is obviously to us quite alien and strange, and there's an element of emotional distance there. I do think it's attractive. I like the sunset shots. The desert atmosphere is one where you understand in the daytime it's sweltering and almost unlivable in some places, and then at night it could be so freezing cold that you could just die. And that's always a nice cycle for me in a movie. If we're out in the desert, I like knowing that hot and cold is coming, and you can get different color palettes, different character action as a result. But it's not. It doesn't feel leaned into hard in this, and I wonder if that's through a conscious effort not to paint everything as an Australian cliche from the jump. Because I think people come at Australian media so loaded by such a complete trough of shite from popular culture that it can be really hard to find the actual essence of the country in its independent cinema and in its art generally. And people come with, a vacuum of ignorance about the native people, about the ancient culture of Australia. So maybe there's an element of like, well, we don't want to just fucking have a didgeridoo playing while we show this, this vista, because it's going to completely taint people's idea of what's actually happening here.
Yeah.
Or it's going to lean into people's existing stereotypes, prejudices, etc. I think it's attractive. I don't think it's brilliantly shot, but I think it's, again, same as Hills Have Eyes. It's an inherently beautiful landscape to me.
Yeah.
So no matter how it's shot, there's going to be elements of that. Leave it to the imagination. But yeah, there's some moments where it looks pretty inviting, but the rest of the time, you're right. It's just there.
I think because of the way that this is shot, and I think it's on purpose, but I think it's also like this was shortly, like not too long after like Lars von Trier's Dogma 95 stuff was going on, and I think there's a lot of stuff that is outlined in those Dogma 95 rules. It also breaks a lot of the rules, and therefore could never be considered a Dogma 95 like movie. Right. I feel like if Lars von Trier saw this and somebody was like, "Hey, watch this, it's Dogma 95 inspired," he would probably just shoot Greg McLean in the face.
I mean, something tells me he would do that with any movie that you showed him, but yeah. Possibly.
But so like I think like it's not lit. It's actively like not lit without any natural light. So I mean that makes it look a certain way, even like the landscapes, and obviously there's a lot of stuff happening at night where you just can't really see anything. Yeah.
Also some really good use of nighttime and the vastness of the sky. There's a shot that I really like of your psychotic bushman sort of backlit by a moon-like light. I don't know if it's actually the moon, but there's a panoramic shot where basically one side of the sky is almost in nighttime and the other side's in day. It's such a dark sky. Yeah. There's a lot of like nice rolling cloud works and beach stuff. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty raw in terms of the natural landscape, which I don't dislike at all. There's one truly wonderful shot that is probably my favorite shot in the movie, and that's when one of the girls is like in the car and she's like falling out of the car, and he's like stood 20 feet away in complete silhouette, like holding his rifle. Looked amazing. Like really pretty good, really nice. He literally says the Crocodile Dundee, "You call that a knife? This is a knife" line. It made me wonder like how Crocodile Dundee was experienced by Australians. Like obviously he's talking to someone who is not Australian, the character in that moment. Yeah. So like, is he playing up that stereotype for them, and also for us? A big chunk of the audience of this movie presumably wouldn't be Australian. It sucks. It's unforgivable. I just think it's so cheap, so lame, some piss weak shit right there. I just don't like it. Yeah, but I think what they're trying to do is sort of show you what the trope of that character, your Steve Irwins and your Crocodile Dundees and whoever, like in real life, that this is what they would actually be like. I don't know. The fundamental nature of the Australian character is one that is elusive. However, I can't imagine an enormous amount of the audience standing up and punching the air and celebrating when that fucking knife line comes out. It's just, why wouldn't you have one of the survivors have that line, or just leave it out entirely? I don't want to speculate as to how and where you could fix this.
Well,
error,
because
this unforced error, but
because the character of Mick Taylor is meant to be like the real world equivalent of a Crocodile Dundee, and like this is the sort of mad cunt he would be in the Australian parlance.
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it. Yeah.
Like I'm sure. I wasn't sure they'd put quite as much mustard on it, but
you killed it. That was perfect. Yeah.
But like in real life, this is what he would be like. So I guess they just wanted to remove any speculation out of it. Just be like, this is what you think is Crocodile Dundee. This is what he would really be like.
Yeah. Okay.
And like, I agree that it feels cheap and cheesy, and I think 90% of the fault of that is The Simpsons because of the way that Simpsons knifey spoony joke has like become so much of like so associated with that. Do you know what I mean?
I don't even know it, Jamie. You gotta fucking educate Grandpa.
You've definitely this. You don't watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, but there's like 50 million episodes. I can't just fucking pull the Crocodile Dundee one out my ass.
So they go to Australia and they meet like a bushman, a wacky bushman, and he says, "You call that a knife? This is a knife." And he pulls out a spoon, and Bart's like, "That's a spoon," and he's like, "Oh, I see you played knifey spoony before." Like
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean it's great, but like I think that has like made "you call that a knife? This is a knife" line from Crocodile Dundee, which is like basically a line from a film from 40 years ago at this point that I would wager 2/3 of the Earth's population have never even heard of, let alone seen.
Whoa, now. I think even if you don't know that movie exists, you still know that quote. You could walk up to anybody and say, "What comes next? That's not a knife." And they'll go, "This is a knife."
Yeah, but
I can almost guarantee it.
But I think a big chunk of that is The Simpsons.
Well, it's probably other things referencing it as well, right? Because the actual exact line, I might be wrong, isn't actually in that Simpsons episode, is it? It's just...
No, it's "You call that a knife?
reference.
This is a knife." No, that's a spoon.
Oh, right.
I see you played knifey spoony before.
Got you. Okay.
But,
yeah, I don't know. It's inexplicably incredibly quotable and highly quoted.
Yeah.
You know, despite, like you said, being a not particularly good film.
I might revisit Crocodile Dundee at some point because
it's rough. I watched both in the last like 5 years, and baby, some boring shit right there. Some interesting stuff, a modicum of comedy here and there, some stuff that's got good value, but I bet you'll love it.
Does it have Whoopi Goldberg in it? It feels like the sort of movie that would have Whoopi Goldberg in it.
Not that I remember, but who knows? Either way, like, just don't fucking invite the comparison, dude. Just leave Crocodile Dundee out of it and exist on your own, unless you are leveraging that somehow.
But they are leveraging
which cheapens
that.
it to me.
But,
yeah, it sucks.
But like,
you're already Australian. You're already a psycho bushman movie. You don't need to reference Crocodile Dundee in such an on-the-nose way. Just leave it.
They're referencing
Let people do it themselves.
They're referencing it in an on-the-nose way because they're trying to make you see the reality of what that character would be like.
Well, that's not a point that needs to be made, in my opinion.
Well,
that's very nothingy as far as I'm concerned.
What do you think about the sort of experimental structure of the film, the 2-act structure? Here's all the beginning, here's the end, nothing in between.
It doesn't have a huge impact on me because the film is not enough happens to really delineate between first and second half besides the obvious. The first half, nothing happens. The second half, there's a killer killing people.
Yeah, stuff happens. Like, yeah.
I'd say much like the rest of the movie, no spoilers for my verdict, it feels pretty lazy. It lacks nuance, and the structure is very important to character development, stakes, momentum, tension, etc., etc. And it just feels like a sloppy bang job of putting two things together.
I mean, that's interesting because that's the exact opposite experience that the director wants you to have. The director was really, really careful in like having this 2-act structure on purpose because they wanted
Right.
you to spend loads of time with these characters who you're supposed to fall in love with and you're supposed to really care about. You're supposed to form these really deep bonds with. So when the second act comes, the final act comes, you are supposed to be really, really invested in what's happening to them. Now, I don't think he's super successful in that,
No.
but I think you can, or at least I can see that he's making that effort to do that. I think, like I say, I don't think it works, but I don't think it ever feels lazy or sloppy or like he's not trying to do something. It just feels like he's either failing or these actors aren't strong enough to make me care about these characters, or the characters aren't characters that I would particularly engage with, or anything really. I don't. Their journey is, and because it's meant to feel like journalistic and true crimey and reconstruction of stuff, like they just sort of go on a really long journey for a big chunk of the movie that isn't especially interesting. It isn't especially character forming.
No.
I think one of the most interesting character forming things that I think that I noticed in this is that they just smoke cigs all day long, and like it's not a thing that you see in movies an awful lot. It doesn't factor into anything that happens later. It's not like they're fucking Chekhov's ciggies.
They smoke their way out. Of
Yeah,
the fucking,
like they
the
don't
killer's
fucking
grip.
con air their ciggies into the guy's gas tank or whatever. Like it's just
Build a car out of ciggies.
yeah, like it's just there for character, and it's just to say that these people are, I guess, young. They don't really care about their bodies. They don't really care. They've not got to the part of their lives where they're like, oh shit, maybe smoking ciggies is bad for me. Neither have I. Hands up. But there you go. Like.
Yeah, they're 21. What's your excuse? Nah, this all feels like massively flouncy set dressing for not a good idea. I just think that, the best movies that take maybe slightly uninteresting or uninspiring characters and turn them into people you literally can't live without, vast majority of them use a 3-act structure artfully and cleverly, and they do so with flow. And there's a very deliberate thing happening in that 3-act structure that draws you in. This idea that you can just have an hour of nothing and therefore you're going to be close to these characters is broken from the start, I think. And it lowers the stakes of the violence. It doesn't bring in the killer early enough or give you enough to be scared of. In my opinion, I don't find this guy scary at all. I find his performance dispassionate and uninteresting.
That's shocking, I think. But we'll go to him in some depth, I think. But
yeah, it just doesn't hit for me. So this vast. In that first hour, if you'd had them encountering situations that really built their characters and established them firmly enough for them to really care about each other in a way that's convincing for the audience to feel like there's... Because they're going to die. It's shot true crime style. There's 3 of them. They're either all dying or one of them's getting away hideously maimed. So, in a way, you're setting yourself up to fail because we already don't care about them. There's no peripheral characters. There's no MacGuffins. There's no... oopsie daisies. There's just these 3 characters.
Yeah,
and
they're not on a journey to do something. They're not on like a quest. They're just going.
And that's the other thing, yeah.
But like that's real life, right? Like no one's.
Yeah, but I'm not here for real life. And backpackers to me are just grist for the mill already. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing I care about these people by virtue of the fact they're backpackers. First of all. And that is supposed to be fun, right? You're supposed to give me a backpacker and have me go, yeah, fuck you, you're going down.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. They didn't have to be backpackers. They're chosen to be backpackers for that reason.
Well, they're chosen to be backpackers because of the true story that they're referencing, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah. But it's leaning into the trope that backpackers are expendable movie fodder.
Yeah.
For a nut job to kill in a satisfying way. So the scale is tipped because there's way too much that makes you not care about them. And you don't even have a movie structure that's trying to make you care about them, really, in my opinion. And it just,
I think
pay off.
it wants you to care about them in the same way that like a Netflix true crime documentary wants you to care about the woman that got lost in a camper van or whatever. Like,
right.
I think it feels exploitative. There's one scene in that first bit where it does build some stakes. and show that they like don't have the level of control that they have when they're with their mates in the city or whatever. And that's when they meet.
Oh, the rough and tumble guys at the gas station
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. But again, it just that whole thing just feels like a pulled punch. It doesn't feel greasy or scary enough to me. There's something really safe about it. That normally those scenes are, I mean, it is a thing, isn't it? It's a trope. It's a device.
Yeah.
Normally you're crawling out of your skin in those scenes. And I wasn't at all. I didn't think there was any danger there, really. Mainly because that's how every Australian I've ever met has talked to me.
You said that you didn't feel scared of
I
all your
know, I'm
Australians.
kidding. I'm just
That's me. So
bantering our mates down under.
excuse me. So let's get into Mick Wilson. So you don't think he's scary at all?
I'll turn my mic off. You can just talk yourself out, buddy. No.
But I think like the fact that he's not scary really makes him quite scary. Like the fact that he is like
Nope.
a
Don't try that shit on me.
vaguely threatening uncle energy, this avuncular, sinister energy.
It just doesn't. It's not coming across for me. I don't find him. The bit where he's dead silent is the only, around the campfire. The bit where he goes dead silent is the only time I feel there's any menace. But it's not strong enough. It's not a strong enough performance because there's no. Basically, right, Hollywood styley. The killer either has to be evil, psychotic, somewhere in between, or relatable, like lovable, misguided, somehow, whatever, or a mixture of all the above. He is just a broken man with no sense of right and wrong anymore, and no understanding or willingness to understand the difference between a human and an animal.
Yeah.
That's a scary concept. All of this is conceptually terrifying to me. In the same way, everything that happens in Apocalypse Now is conceptually terrifying. It's not strictly a horror movie. But it's not scary to me in practice because he's just going about his business. Like you said, he's exactly who he is in normal everyday mode as he is in killer mode. And while that's interesting, it's just not scary to me at all.
Yeah.
The violence in this movie is horrific. The things that he's doing are awful, but I don't feel any of it.
Yeah.
I have the same sort of numbness as he does, and that's not an interesting movie experience to me.
I think the film is sort of doing that on purpose. It's like presenting this and being like, this is the stuff that's happening. It doesn't make it feel super cinematic. That's why, that's how it's...
Well, it is banging music in there, and it is doing close-ups and gore and
towards the
close-ups
end,
of stabbing.
It sort of becomes more and more cinematic as it moves towards the climax. And as it sort of moves through their like final characters, because obviously we spend a bunch of time with Liz expecting her to be the final girl because like she's so strong-willed and self-assured and is able to escape and do all this cool stuff, and then she just like gets killed, and then we just sort of switch focus to the other girl, and then we're like, okay, I guess she's the final girl because Ben's already dead or whatever because we don't know, and then like she gets killed, and then it just goes to Ben and he manages to escape and I guess survive. But like it presents it in such a dispassionate way, which is on purpose. Again, it's a choice that they've made, that Greg McLean has made, in order to try and convey some sort of point about the nature of violence and the nature of real life violence versus movie violence or whatever. But like it does make it feel less exciting, which is not really maybe what he's going for. He's not going for like a Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street slasher, although I do think that little chuckle that John Jarrett does when he's hiding in the back seat before he stabs Liz is straight up Freddy Krueger shit.
He's got a really good laugh.
Yeah.
His laugh is the one thing that's good. I think you've just mentioned two things that I think are the best things about the film for me. The interesting following of each individual character's narrative almost one at a time, rather than kind of switching back and forth, like what's he doing while this is happening, just kind of seeing one through to the end. I quite enjoyed that, and his laugh is a great little there is a second one. I bet he fucking hams that laugh up for 90
there's also a TV series.
There's also something coming out in 2026 called Wolf Creek Legacy.
Ugh.
Taylor's Hunting Grounds. Yeah, it all just needs to fuck off, in my opinion. Like,
I think a killer like this isn't franchise material. I mean, like I said, I've not seen the sequel, so maybe I'm massively wrong. Taking a killer that's based on a specific human person to like more of a degree than say Leatherface and Ed Gein or whatever,
Yeah.
and making them a franchise hero basically. It just
Yeah.
feels a bit gross to me.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I kind of feel the same a bit. Cultural relativism. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
No idea. Poor old Leatherface, eh?
I also, like I say, really like the way that it follows a character, kills them, follows another one, because like it almost has the same effect as like the opening of Scream, where you assume that this character
Yeah, a
that you're
little bit.
with is the character for the movie now.
Yeah.
And obviously we especially with Liz for that first chunk of the final act, where we spend all that time with her and she's doing all this sort of cool hero shit and blowing up cars and all sorts of cool stuff, figuring out mysteries and saving people's lives and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and then she dies and it's like, oh shit, yeah, okay, maybe anything can happen. But then we're like, okay, well, they killed her and there's only this other character left, so she must be the final girl, and we follow her for a bit, and then she dies, and then we cut over here. Like, it is an interesting approach, and I think it would be cool to see more movies explore that
Mm.
in different ways.
Yeah, it does a good job of locking you in to what's happening in that moment.
Yeah.
And I think the whole scene with the car at the end where she gets picked up and then he shoots the tire, and that's actually quite compelling viewing. I found that at least held my interest pretty consistently right through to the last bit.
My issue with that is that I don't believe that he would have missed and shoot the flask.
Yeah, I think he's fucking around. I took that as like he's toying, because you see through that scope, you see that he's dead on everything that he points it at, and he doesn't miss a shot for the whole movie. So yeah, I think he's fucking around with him a little bit, which I like again.
Yeah.
You know, a bit more playful killer would have been nice. I kind of thought, so when he first showed up, I was like, oh, we got a trap movie on our hands. We're gonna have some crazy traps, and we're gonna have some humans getting skinned, and we're gonna have, you know, all of these like bushcraft ways of killing animals, but killing humans, and that doesn't even get delivered. He just shoots them and mangles them, and game over.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have seen. So, like, my big Australian cultural touch points are neighbours. Not an awful lot you can do with that. Home and Away, the same. Like,
Yeah,
the Mad Max movies and those other post-apocalyptic sort of exploitation movies, like Dead End Driving and stuff. Wake in Fright, Walkabout, Crocodile Dundee, and then Brian Brown from like the FX movies. Not an awful lot you can do with that. Like they do Crocodile Dundee, they do a bit of Walkabout, like that. That's kind of reflected in the plot of this, I think. But what they don't do is Wake in Fright, and Wake in Fright is not a horror movie, and is the scariest Australian movie you will ever see.
right.
It's about like a teacher who decides to fuck off his life and go to like a town in the outback called the Bundy Abbot and just get drunk with Dr. Loomis for like a week, and goes on like a roo hunt, and they kill a kangaroo, and it's, you know, it was the 70s, so obviously they had to really kill a kangaroo and
Nice one, dickhead.
skin it. I think they, similar to Cannibal Holocaust, not okay, but like they let the locals do it in, and they just sort of filmed it in line with like the way that they would. So like that room was dying whether the camera was there or not. But
Yeah,
I don't necessarily need to see it, but fair enough.
yeah.
And you watch them skin it and do all that, and I would like to have seen a bit of that in this, because like we're hitting so many of these touch points, so many of these like big Australian cultural exports, like Picnic at Hanging Rock and stuff like that. So like why wouldn't we go a bit deeper on the Wake in Fright stuff? If also, just while I'm talking about Wake in Fright, I would absolutely recommend it to anybody that likes to have a horrible time.
Oh god, is it really bad?
It's so good and so difficult to watch.
Where would you place it if you had to put it in a genre?
I mean, it's all exploitation. It's an Australian exploitation movie. It's sweaty and boozy and
Aussie,
very Aussie, very unpleasant.
unpleasant.
Yeah.
So Wolf Creek.
I think the violence feels, like we've said, sort of dispassionate, but like the gore and the set pieces are really quite well done.
Couple of okay moments of gore. The guy getting shot in the head's cool.
Like,
good brain gore.
I don't really mean the gore even really. I mean like the violence itself. Like he just sort of shoots that girl like she's a dog. Like,
yeah,
when he stabs Liz from behind through the seat, it's just like,
yeah,
fuck. Oh,
yeah. I think I've just seen enough bad blood on shiny knives, and the more you show it to me, the more I'm just like, yeah, you chose to do that. That's fine. And again, like the violence doesn't serve the chilling persona that we're supposed to be grappling with here. It doesn't enhance the cold feeling we're supposed to be getting from this guy. It doesn't dehumanize his prey enough for me. He's not hunting them enough for me. It's just the way the characters die. And again, that's fine. I don't think that's egregious. I don't think that sucks. I just think it is all just happening in a very middle of the road way.
yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't fully agree, but I don't disagree. But like the beginning of like that, when he's got the other girl tied up and he's like firing shots at her, that's terrifying. Like that has
Yeah, you think so?
the potential. Like, yeah, like he's sort of playing with her, but he's also like shooting towards her. He's just trying to freak her out, but also, you know, like why would you tie someone up and then just shoot them with a rifle from 4 feet away? It's insane behavior.
I'll tell you why. Expository dialogue. That's the only reason that scene happens. Yeah, I don't know. I quite like it that again, it sort of undermines the whole menace, but, you know, when the girl gets away, cuts herself out, gets the gun and shoots him, I was a bit like, oh, cool, okay, well, something different's going to happen here for the rest of the movie now. Because I was very much of the thought that we were just going to have lots of screaming and running around for the next 40 minutes. But that did change the trajectory of the end of the movie a little bit, which is nice. But it does undermine his efficacy as a wily bushman, and that bummed me out.
Yeah, I don't understand how he thinks everything went on fire outside.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be this like master hunter, tracker, exterminator of all creatures, and you can't even tie a backpacker up properly. She escapes within like 5 minutes of regaining consciousness and shoots you in the neck. Like, don't buy this guy.
Yeah.
She's wily, sure, but
yeah.
Come on, bud. If you don't tie that roo up good and tie your kangaroo down, son, it's going to kick your fucking bollocks out your nose or whatever.
Okay, Sam, I think we've said all the things about Wolf Creek. So why don't we, before we go to a break, take a moment to exalt and bathe in the glorious glow that is our sponsor, Red Scare Industries.
Red Scare Industries, the Tasmanian devil of the punk rock music releasing landscape. A record label that gives you what you need. If you go to redscare.net right now, you're going to find a whole bunch of new music, old music, and great music, all under one roof.
3 mutually exclusive things there.
Completely separate categories. If you go to the website, it actually has those 3 categories, and one of them's empty. So check it out, redscare.net.
Cool. Why don't we now take a break, Sammy, come back and finish this episode off.
Break.
Great.
Come on, man, does that thing even work? No, there's nothing out there, it's just dead air.
Okay, Sam, we are back.
Yes.
We're going to sum up, okay?
Sure, let's do it.
I don't think this is a very good movie, but I do respect a bunch of the stuff that it's trying to do.
Same.
It's got a large cadre of very vocal supporters that I guess sustained it into sequels and TV series and fucking legacies or whatever's coming next.
Yeah.
And I think I will watch the sequel. I think this did enough for me.
Of course you will. You don't need to tell us that you're going to. We know you are.
I think it did enough to get me to watch Wolf Creek 2.
Yep.
And I also looked at the TV series because I was like, what could that possibly be? Are we just doing this movie again? Because I was looking at John Jarrett's IMDb.
Yeah.
And I noticed that he plays the same character in the TV series.
Right.
And the TV series, I guess, is kind of like the Creep TV series in that it just like shows a number of his other victims over a period of time. Although
Sure.
I guess it doesn't focus on one victim per week like the Creep TV series did.
Mm.
Did you watch the Creep TV series?
No.
Did you like Creep?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was a Netflix movie with the guy who I always call the guy from Volcano. I'm Still Excited, but he's a really famous actor and director, Mark Duplass. It was like the found footage movie.
I did watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, but they made a TV series of it that was just basically like a collection of the videos from his collection.
That sounds wholly unnecessary.
I mean, it is, but it's only as unnecessary as every sequel ever, right?
I thought he was interesting in that. I probably never would have suspected that he had that in his bag in terms of a performance, and that's the kind of surprise I like. You know, he's one of a 3-person cast doing this fucking bizarrely intimate, creepy, 2014 horror shtick camera stuff. Pleasantly surprised by him, but yeah, no, I don't need to watch anything else.
But like the TV series of that was hit and miss. It was, I think, a way to give fledgling directors a chance to make something for Shudder, basically.
Well, that's cool.
In that world,
Is it him?
Yeah, he's in it.
All right, cool, nice.
But I think maybe they shouldn't make long form TV series out of horror properties. I'm yet to see one that's been particularly good.
Well, I'm pumped for the Friday the 13th prequel TV series.
I'm sure it'll be fucking garbage. But I will...
Incredible, though.
I will watch it.
They're also making a new game. They're also making a new fucking game.
Well,
Linda Cardellini as Pamela Voorhees? Come on.
But I don't buy that. Do you know what I mean?
Why?
Because she's...
We haven't seen her lately. She's getting on.
I've seen her very recently in the Marvel movies.
Oh, she's in those.
Yeah, she's Hawkeye's Hawkwife.
I've convinced myself that she's Pamela Voorhees. It took me a very long time, but I'm trying to get ahead so that it's not jarring when it happens.
I just like the Exorcist show was not good. The Psycho show was not good. Like
Bates Motel, I haven't watched that yet.
Hannibal was great, but like it's not really a show based on those movies. It's a show based on the books that weaves stuff, and I thought it was amazing. I loved it. The food all looked incredible, and it was all human flesh.
Yeah, people look like good eating.
Yeah. I do think that there's stuff in here that I respect. If it doesn't land me the same way, I mean, I think what a lot of the stuff that it's doing, I've seen done differently or better in other properties, like Funny Games or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or a bunch of other exploitation that kind of presents stuff dispassionately by accident.
Sure.
And it becomes interesting as a result of that. Whereas I think that the dispassionate, this is just happening and you have to watch it approach here doesn't grab me in the same way. And I think it's because of the characters. And I think it's because I'm not on this journey with them. I'm watching them all the way through and I don't like them and I don't care about them.
Sure.
And I don't care for them. And I also don't hate them enough that I'm like, come on, guys, let's just get to the fucking meat grinder.
Yeah, get them in a trap.
It's almost like a bunch of things happen and then it ends.
Yeah. At least there's no animal violence.
It's true. Unless you count human, the most dangerous animal of all.
Top of the food chain, motherfucker. So come on, rate it.
Rate it. Okay, I'm probably going to give it 6.5 shots to the neck. Knife, what's the word? Flesh wounds. Necky flesh wounds.
Necky flesh wound.
Fleshy neck wounds. That's probably the better way of saying it.
No, I prefer Don't go changing. Necky flesh wound.
Okay.
Way better.
6.5 necky flesh wounds out of 11.
Yep, I agree with everything you've said. 100%. If I say anything, I'm just adding to the noise. You absolutely nailed it there, bud. I'm going to give this movie 4 Crocodile Dundees out of 12.
Okay. A nice third.
Yep,
third.
Not wholly unpleasant. Definitely not everything it could have been, but same as you, some promising stuff, some swings, some misses, but strangely the midsection I quite enjoy. There's 20 minutes that straddles the transition between the backpacking and the killing that I thought was pretty good. Yeah, that's all you're getting, bud.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think that Mick Taylor has some sort of EMP, electromagnetic pulse that somehow breaks people's watches because their watches all stopped at the same time?
That doesn't get explained, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Good catch there, Jamie. I'd filtered that out completely.
Like, is
Is it something we don't know about Australia? Is there a part of the world, part of Australia that has maybe around the meteor crater where there's ionized particles in the mainframe that disrupt the Nazca lines and cause fluctuations in the space-time continuum?
Yeah.
Good words.
A thing that I did really like, which we haven't mentioned, I just want to slide it in here before we say our final goodbyes,
Obviously.
is when she goes back and watches like the footage and the van's there in the background, the truck is there in the background.
Good sting. Good moment. Yeah.
That made me want to go back and watch the film again to see if it's there at several points throughout the movie. And that is a clever thing to do as a filmmaker. It's like make your viewers want to watch it again, even if they're only giving it 5 out of 10. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you're just a continuity hound and you cannot let that go. I don't think most people are like, fuck, I gotta watch it again. They just get that satisfactory, like, I've been done feeling.
Yeah. I want to know, I don't want to go back and see if it's there in that scene. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I know that it's there in that scene from the scene that we see at the end.
Yeah.
But I want to go back and see if it's there throughout. Like the devil in Longlegs, or like I didn't particularly like Longlegs, but I watched it 3 times because I want to spot all the fucking background devils. Like,
oh, you put yourself through that 3 times. Owie.
Well, I also don't remember watching it for the first time in the cinema because I took a flask of Negroni with me and was hammered by the time I fell out of the screening. So
Brilliant. Love that.
I thought I'd become a genius and was like, I'm going to take flasks full of Negronis to the cinema and have a wonderful grown-up drinking time. But turns out it's just a waste of time because you go to a place, drink a bunch of Negronis, don't remember the movie. I could do that at home.
Yeah, exactly. You don't pay a fortune for the privilege. I used to pour a load of whiskey in a massive, like, icy Pepsi Max at the cinema, and that was always fun.
The cinema isn't a place for moderation. That's why popcorn comes in such large quantities.
Yep, agreed. If you can, absolute despicable fucking, I'm going to find that guy and kill him moment. I walked out of the cinema recently and someone had maybe eaten like half a handful of their popcorn, just left a large popcorn on the floor, just full.
Well, I've told you about when I used to work at the Odeon at the Trafford Centre and people would leave entire Nando's just like on the floor. People would get to the end of the film and be like, oh, I've got half my popcorn left. Should I put it in the bin? No. Tip.
Tip. Yeah. I don't think I've ever not finished something I'm eating, for the record. I don't think I've ever left food, ever.
No, especially popcorn. If popcorn makes it past the trailers, I've done something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I tell you, I don't know if I told you this when you were telling me about your cinema adventures, but we did go through a hot minute. My friend Billy worked at the cinema, and he'd give us a massive free popcorn, and I'd walk in and trip over and throw it everywhere theatrically and then pretend to cry and run out. And we did it so many times. Just do it in every screen, like do it 6 times in one night, piss ourselves laughing, and then go watch another movie. That was always fun.
That's fun, but
a real mess for somebody.
Yeah.
But at least it was my mate who cleaned it up.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we talked about this recently, but the Overton window on being a dickhead in the cinema has shifted massively. It used to be like people would check their phones or forget to put their phone on silent.
Yeah.
And like that was annoying. But now we're at the point where I went to see Fantastic Four recently, and for the first 40 minutes constantly, people were walking into the cinema with their phone torches on to try and find their seats. 40 minutes into the fucking movie. Yeah. Like, how is that okay? They leave the lights on the stairs so you can find your seats. Yeah. It's already fucking Blackpool illuminations in
are
there.
Lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's the most old man thing you've ever said. It's already Blackpool illuminations in the fucking cinema. You don't need your fucking torch. Yeah, no, I agree. Thankfully, I don't live in a city, so I don't experience any of this. Everyone's dead silent, very respectful, and there's very rarely anyone even there. So I am yet to experience this hell on earth.
Well, so I thought it was the Fantastic Four audience,
Right.
but I did a double bill of Fantastic Four and Bring Her Back, and it
Yeah.
was the exact same in Bring Her Back. But also people
I would be
having
incensed.
full volume conversations,
No.
and like
Not, no.
people
No.
having their phones out the whole time, just like, I don't know, scrolling through, doom scrolling in the cinema. Like, why would you do that? You spent £400 to be there.
Yeah, you did. Oh, people are fucked, man. I know that you're not the guy who's going to turn around and go, "Excuse me, what the fuck do you think you're doing?" But that's why I would have been stabbed by now if I if I lived where you live, I'd be dead, because I cannot abide that behavior. I don't. If it was fucking Mick Dundee behind me, doom scrolling and talking and chucking popcorn everywhere with a big knife in his hand, I still wouldn't be able to stop myself turning around saying, "You need to shut the fuck up," and I would get stabbed directly in the face.
Yeah.
As soon as we accept that that's the norm, it's ruined for everybody.
Yeah. Well,
We cannot accept this behavior.
that's what's happened. Is like, it started off that people would check their phones and like forget to put their
Yeah.
phones on silent, and we all normalized that and got to deal with it. The price of doing business, of going to the cinema, and then because that became the norm, we shifted further, and now people look at their phones throughout, and then we've shifted further, and now it's just
I don't even take my phone. Like, just get fucked.
I will absolutely not look at my phone. If I need to look at my phone for any reason, if I'm expecting something and there might be an emergency, I will pick a time.
Not go to the cinema?
I'll go to the toilet and I'll check my phone in the toilet.
Right.
And, nothing important.
I'm not going to the cinema if my wife's about to give birth. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing that I think you should look at your phone for in any scenario like that. Like, oh, I'm waiting for a really important call from work. Don't go see Fantastic Four, would be my top piece of advice for you, my friend.
Yeah.
It's the fucking pits, man. I mean, I just think you quite literally deserve to have the piss kicked out of you in an alley if you behave like that in a cinema.
I completely agree. If any of our listeners behave like that in the cinema,
You're out.
no, you need to immediately go to our Patreon and give us $5 a month.
Yep.
In-
and then
in-
move to Australia.
In penance
Yeah.
of this.
Penance.
Patreon.com/final transmission. I mean, you will get stuff in return. You will get unedited, full-length video and podcast versions of this episode and many, many others like it. But ultimately, you're there for punishment. So,
Probably talk through it, you dismal turd.
yeah. If you are not one of those guys and you want to just support the podcast, you can still do that on Patreon. That would
Can you
be...
imagine anyone listening to our podcast who goes to the cinema and scrolls on their phone and talks and throws their popcorn on the floor when they leave? I don't think so.
I don't think anyone that-
We've created a culture here that very much abhors that behaviour collectively.
Yeah. Well, let us know how you feel on our social media at FT Horror Show. Choose the platform of your choice. We're there.
What a great segue.
Thanks,
Well
mate.
played.
Tell us about your most horrible cinema experiences. I want to hear all about them.
Oh, I sat next to the Haverhill Ghost Hunter at the cinema when we went to see Who's Your Daddy? Where's My Daughter? The other day. It was great.
Bring her back.
That's it. Yeah.
Who's the Haverhill Ghost Hunter? Is
He's
it
a guy-
Is it the ghost of the Haverhill Hunter?
So the Haverhill Ghost Hunter is Luke Tabram. He runs a business called Shadow Paranormal
Okay.
in Haverhill, where he goes to haunted places to film, look for ghosts, etc., etc. Yeah, local guy, does a lot of fun paranormal stuff where I live, and he was sitting right next to me at the cinema in his
Nice.
cowboy hat.
In his Mick Dundee hat.
Yeah, he cosplayed for for Wolf Creek at
Bring her back.
swimming pool. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Learn the name of a thing.
I can't. They're so generic. They need better names. These two films.
What
'cause
was
they're quite good.
what was the name of his company again? Charlatan Media. Was that it?
Shadow Paranormal.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's it. Something like that.
Okay, well, we've got one more week on the road, Sam. One more week of
Yeah.
our summer horror days, and we're going somewhere suburban next time.
Ooh, suburban holiday.
Yeah, maybe an
Suburban vacation.
maybe an Airbnb of some kind.
Sounds like a generic LA punk compilation. Suburban vacation.
Yeah, it does.
I'm excited.
But we'll see you next week for that conversation.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.